Sin City and My Guys in the Desert with the legend Brent Musburger, live on the Vegas Stats and Information Network, SiriusXM Channel 204, and vsin.com.
Well, Amal and Ron, as you know, we are blessed with some very loyal fans here at VSiN. It's always great when they're able to drop by from out of town. Mr. Mark Mason joins us right now. He is a VSiN fan from Columbia, Maryland, and yes, he indeed pulls for the Washington Capitals, proudly wearing their T-shirt today. Mark, welcome to VSiN, my friend. Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much, Brent.
And so tell us about your betting endeavors and what you follow back east and everything you've got going, your trip out here to the desert.
Well, back east, we don't have anything like this show. And that's why I got Sirius Satellite Radio, and I listen to your show every day. And I get a lot of good information from this show. You guys are really on the point with a lot of stuff that you put out. But I still like the handicapping that I do. I check line changes every day to see where the money's going, and I usually bet that way. I mean, that's what I do.
So you make decisions based on how the line moves many times?
If it's a big change, I can tell which way the wise guys are going.
So give me for example, when you say that.
Well, 2 weeks ago, these games were off the regular board. They were the what is that, FBS or
FCS added games.
They were games that started out as a 6.5 point favorite, and then it went the other way where the team ended up 13-point favorite. And I loaded up on the other team, and they won by like 40. You really have to watch stuff like that.
Sure.
Because those small schools, somebody knows something.
Right.
So if the money moves on a big school, like it did for Purdue here at the book, you wouldn't be paying that much attention. They're going to play Ohio State. Jimmy Vaccaro was just in here and said that a couple big bettors had stepped up to the plate, taking the Boilermakers with the 14, and they've dropped it down to 13 and a half. But it's the little games you look for, right, Mark?
Not all the time. It's funny you mentioned that because with my man back home, you can buy points, half-point points up to 2.
No, you can buy them here, too.
Yeah, half point, I think, is the most you could buy, right?
Depends on where you can go. You can buy up to 1.5, depending on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have already played Purdue plus 14.5 because I like them this Saturday. But there's a game this Saturday that I think the total is going to go crazy, and that is South Florida and UConn. It's one of my highest plays of the year. There should be 80 to 90 points in that game. UConn is absolutely atrocious on defense, and South Florida can score, and UConn can score a little bit. So they'll score like 20, 21 points. But I think you're looking at 55, 62 points from South Florida this weekend.
And it's in Orlando, a 32.5-point spread. I should say in Tampa, 32.5. Well, I was thinking of Central Florida when you said that, Mark. Excuse me. This game's in Tampa. 32.5. How about that money line, Amal?
Well, let's put it this way. If you're going to spend the $21,000, I think you feel pretty safe going against Connecticut. I mean, this is one team that has got major issues, just one win on the season. But the bigger issue, is, as he alluded to, is defensively. I mean, this is a team, you look at, they gave up 56 to UCF, 62 to Ball State. They gave up 49 to Rhode Island. Syracuse scored 51. Cincinnati scored 49. I get your point on the over. The only thing that I have a concern with is if South Florida jumps out to a 35-0 halftime lead, then you start seeing fullback dive quite a bit. That's the only time. One of the things I like when you have high numbers sometimes is I like a team that can be competitive on the other side, because that can happen sometimes where you have a blowout and a team gets out in front early and then all of a sudden they just call off the dogs.
I agree with your theory, except in this situation, when they go in fullback dives, they're gaining 8, 10, 15 yards at a time.
No, it's a fair point. I'm just seeing so many times, Brent, when you have a total on an over, you sit there and you see a team scoring. And what people don't realize is that if it's a blowout on one side, it hurts. You see with Bama, perfect example. They were destroying Missouri the other day, and they ended up winning the second half 9-0. They scored 40 points. Total was 74. You feel pretty good about your position. You're not thinking there's going to be 9 points scored in the second half.
Mark, there's a common denominator between where you're from and the game you were talking about, and that's Randy Edsall. He coached at Maryland. He's back at UConn. How much does just that little bit of knowledge that you may have had go a long way? I mean, I always say that if you got a little local knowledge in your head, use it to your advantage.
Well, being a Maryland fan with all the different sports in the area, from Baltimore to D.C. teams, Randy Edsall, he's a very conservative coach, and he didn't last long at Maryland. And he was at UConn at the beginning, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And then they hired him
Second
back.
Go around, yeah.
But I just think they're in way over their head here. And South Florida, I think, is going to score probably 60 points. And UConn's good for 20. And I really love this total. I think it's 59 right now. I think that's the number.
69, right?
Oh, is it 69? I'm
Yeah,
sorry. You're
yeah.
right. 69.
But your point on Randy Edsall, I'll tell you what, Brent, just for you, this is a guy that should not be coaching. I mean, you talk about stealing money for a living. It's always phenomenal in life when you can legally steal money. And Randy Edsall's able to do so. God bless him.
The assassin strikes. I knew we couldn't get through the day.
Didn't he get the Huskies to a bowl game?
Yes, he did at one time.
Listen, Kansas made a
Absolutely.
bowl game back in 2008. They actually made the Orange Bowl.
He made a big bowl game.
Yeah.
Fiesta, didn't he?
Yeah, Mark, mentioning the area. So immediately I grab my sheets, okay? Grab my sheets. Let's go. You tell me about the Baltimore Ravens this week, 2.5-point favorite with that good defense against the New Orleans Saints coming off their bye. Red hot team, 2.5. Ravens favored. Got a big total on this one of 50. What's your feeling about the Saints and the Ravens?
Well, first let me tell you, I am not a homer. I play against the Terps. I play against my teams all the time because they're very good moneymakers. Betting against the Nationals this year was very good. But I really like Baltimore laying less than a field goal here. I don't think the Saints are that great a road team to begin with. And I just think Baltimore was embarrassed 2 weeks ago against the Browns.
Got it?
And they came back last week with a vengeance and 11 sacks against Tennessee and shut them out 21-0. And anytime a team comes off a shutout, you play them the next week.
Okay, you play a team off a shutout. Okay.
Yes.
So you're recommending Ravens Saints. All right. Now let's go to the other team in the area, the Washington Redskins. Rivalry game, and a game that they have not handled well over the last few years. They host the Dallas Cowboys, and the Redskins, 1.5, 2-point favorite. What do we do with the Cowboys and the Redskins?
I'm playing the Cowboys money line here. You talked about Randy Edsall shouldn't be coaching in college.
Jay Gruden, you're going to say?
Jay Gruden shouldn't be coaching in the NFL. He is so inconsistent. It's ridiculous. I mean, the team is not motivated at all. It's just so sad to watch.
Brent, I'm just glad you're more upset at someone else than me.
John, that was not me. Okay, I like your brother. Okay.
I'm with you. I actually think Jay Gruden, I know you disagree, but to me, I think Gruden's pretty creative in terms of what he does offensively. If you look at this team last year, they've been decimated by injuries. Josh Dotson, first-round pick, injured. Jordan Reed, injured. They've had so many injuries. Terrell Pryor didn't work out there. They just have, to me, Alex Smith's done a nice job. This team has been much more competitive than I think a lot of people gave them credit for. And with the way the NFC East is shaking out, I don't think you can discount the Washington Redskins because Philadelphia has not proven themselves to be what they were last year just yet.
Well, you say about Smith and Gruden, because I live back there. There was an article in the Washington Post this week about how Gruden really came down hard on Smith, that he's not producing enough and he needs to throw the ball deeper more.
Well, I mean, listen, Alex Smith has never thrown the ball past 10 yards his entire career.
Right.
I mean, that's just he is who he is. But to me, I like quarterbacks that don't turn the ball over because you don't give the opponent short fields and you don't cost yourself opportunities to score.
And I will admit, he does not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
But I think Dallas is coming off a real big win against Jacksonville, and I
agree.
really like them.
No, I don't have a problem with taking the Cowboys here. I'm just saying from a standpoint of what Washington is, they missed on some free agents. They go out and sign Josh Norman. He's not as good as he was in Carolina. He might have been a benefactor of playing with a very good defense. Davis and Kuechly in front of him and some good edge rushers. So we'll see. I just think that they don't necessarily have the talent to be able to win at the level that Philadelphia is winning right now.
Right.
And so I don't necessarily say it's coaching in that particular instance.
So, Mark, you listen regularly to VSiN. Who's the best handicapper on the air?
Ooh, I don't even know if I want to say that, Brent. I don't want to make people jealous.
I guess
No,
it's
it's
not
okay.
you, Brent.
I'm
Under
not
no
a jealous kind of person.
circumstance
I'm
should it
about
be
the
me.
bottom line.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
I like Vinny Mayao a lot. He's good.
Vinny is good. And You know what? Listen, last few weeks in the NFL, he's given out some great tips. I thought the best one he had was when he said Detroit over Green Bay at home a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was on that game.
Follow him on horses too.
We put that on
Sneaky
the
good
Super
on
Bowl
horses.
page.
My brother Jerry, who lives in Colorado, is an excellent horse capper, and he's very good, and I follow him.
That's great. So you listen to VSiN on Sirius XM, or do you watch on the computer?
I listen to you on Sirius Radio.
Okay,
I just love it.
that's great.
It's you know,
What
to
should we
me-
give you more of?
I'm
What
sorry.
what are we not giving you?
Oh,
If you had to change one thing,
that's
would
an
you do?
interesting question. I mean, just for me, some topics are boring.
such as
I mean, I don't want to hear about, soccer or volleyball or stuff like that whenever you talk about it. but I just love listening to you guys. I mean, whoever thought in my lifetime there would be a station like this that you could hear betting on?
I have something for you.
yes, sir.
Speaking of things that it might get boring here soon, Justin Turner, an RBI single, scored Clayton Kershaw, who stayed in the game. Looks like he's going to pitch the eighth now.
He's retired 13 in a row.
Yeah, so if you they're just going to ride him.
How many pitches?
98.
So he hasn't even thrown 100 pitches yet.
No,
We've got
98 through
100 pitches,
7, yeah.
And so
I think they're taking him out. There's Dave Roberts just gave him a big hug in the dugout as they went to commercial. I think his day is done.
and Soria's day is done. The Milwaukee bullpen, which didn't look good first two games, doesn't look good now. Dodgers right now are leading in the bottom of the seventh, 4-1. And as far as the in game, sides are off the board.
Yeah, off the board. So put up the second game for me. Houston trailing the Red Sox 2-1. Let me see what the numbers are that we've got on that game, which is still ahead of us here. And there we are. So a Morton minus 150, or Porcello on the dime line plus 140. I'd have to lean to the plus 140 in that if you just look at that matchup. I wonder what the 5 innings would be on Porcello and Morton.
Well, I took Boston here in this spot. You're getting plus 140 on a guy who's won 17 games for his team. And also,
Absolutely.
to me, the Boston offense has found themselves, so I think they'll be just fine in this matchup.
If this game had been in May, you'd go maybe the other way. Morton was hot, Porcello was not, but it's gone completely the other way around with these starters. And I agree with them all. You get plus 140 on Porcello. It's a good play.
Yeah, and the pressure is on the Astros. If the Red Sox get a run or a couple runs ahead in that game tonight, they're apt to press.
I also think Charlie Morton has pitched over his head in Houston. He's not quite as good. There's a reason why for a long time he was a number 4, number 5 starter. Porcello's a guy who's had success in Boston.
Yeah, okay. So, Mark, before we let you go, are the Capitals going to repeat, lad?
Most likely not.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Well, it's very tough to repeat as champion in
Yes,
any
it is.
sport.
That is a very good point.
But like I don't know if I said earlier or not, I waited 44 years for this.
It was a great chance.
I've been a hockey fan since I was 10 years old in an area where nobody knew anything about hockey, in D.C. area.
Okay.
I used to listen to the Boston Bruins games on the radio and St. Louis Blues on KMOX and with Dan Kelly, and I just loved hockey. And when we got a team in '74, I was there every night for like 3 years.
Okay. So, I'd like to make you a deal, Mark.
Okay.
Okay. I promise that on My Guys in the Desert, we will never again talk about handicapping volleyball if you let us talk about handicapping soccer. Is that a deal?
Okay, that's funny. Funny you said that because I took the DC United tonight minus a goal because they've been playing so well lately.
I know I could back you off.
with
that
Wayne
tree, Mark.
Rooney.
All right. Mark Mason, VSiN fan from Columbia, Maryland. We enjoyed this, and thanks for dropping by. Anytime, lad. Consider yourself a candidate for the VSiN Fan of the Year. But that clipboard that you heard drop when you knocked one of the Grudens, this was given to me by another fan. Cashing tickets, Mark, is what it's all about.
Thank you very much. And may I say hi to a friend back home?
If you must.
Okay, I want to say hi to one of my good friends, Marco Tedesco, who's in Maryland, and he's a big listener to you, and he's got you on TV every day.
Is he better?
Yes, of
Is
course
he a bookmaker?
No,
Hello, Mark.
he's not a bookmaker.
All right. Take care, Mark.
All right,
We're going
thank
to
you
take
very
a break. VSiN.com, Sirius XM 204.
It's My Guys in the Desert with Brent Musburger, only on the Vegas Stats and Information Network. Keep up to date with everything in the world of sports gaming by going online at vsin.com.